Good evening, everyone. It is September the 10th, Tuesday, September the 10th, and it's currently 7:04. And I would entertain a motion for us to start our general town meeting.
I'll make that motion stated.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the meeting is now in order. All right, to start out the meeting, we'll start out with a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now if we can have a moment of silence for those who are shut in, sick, suffering, and let's give a special thought out to those in Barbados and all that they having to go through and whatever blessings we can send to help them. Okay, thank you. Now if we can actually have a moment of silence to actually think about what we're thankful for, friends, families, the good things that we have in our life, and let's take a moment for pure appreciation. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Okay, so we're going to start out the meeting with the report on the work session from last week. I have a copy of it. All right, I have it. Okay, so last week in our work session, we met and talked about code enforcement and the council reporting. And basically, the chief is going to give access to the council members and myself so that we can actually see where code enforcement activities are taking place, and also allow for the council members to actually report to code enforcement those things that they don't see on that list that they believe should be considered. You can always go to your council person if you feel like there's some code enforcement issues you don't want to directly report to the town offices, and then your council member will discreetly handle getting to code enforcement in order to get that happen, because code enforcement can be challenging amongst neighbors. So we really want to do as much as we can to make the town better, and sometimes we need to hear from you when you see something going on. We talked about our daily bazaar contract. Many of you may know we own the property next to KFC, and so we are planning to have a daily bazaar there throughout spring, summer, and fall. And we've been working on putting together a contract for that. And so I'll mention right now, because I was going to do it in my report, but we're trying to start this weekend. So go ahead and get started. Get as many people as we can. It's $50 for a spot. If you can come in by Thursday in order to pick up a spot. But I think that if we can encourage people, we can do a 20% discount on that in order to really get people out. So if you have something to sell, you want to come out and you want to show what you have, please come by the town hall to get an application, to fill it out. And this will be daily. There's some forms out on the table if you'd like to see them. They'll be up on our Facebook page and our website for you to look and see what it's about. If you are the person who gets the vendor to come, you will get 20% of what we get. So it's also a way to make money by promoting the actual bazaar, so the vendors can come out and make money, and those who promote the bazaar can make money. So we're looking forward to this being a staple around the community, and we're just moving forward to try to get it started. So another item we talked about was the temporary permits. So we give out temporary parking permits to people who have circumstances that don't allow them, or that may be that their company requires that they take their vehicle home. It could be that they serve an elderly person and they have to be in town after 5 o'clock for that service, and things like that. So we talked about the management of the temporary permits, and we also talked about some changes in the permitting process. So we will be introducing another update to the parking ordinance next month. And what we talked about was requiring that a person parking in a non-permit parking area will need to have a visitor pass. So that means that only people who are visiting someone here in the town for whatever reason, if they're visiting for business or they're visiting, will be the people who are parked there. There won't be any limitations on your passes. The limitations will still be based on the non-permit areas. But they would have to have a visitor permit in their car in that non-permit area in order for them to park in that area. We also talked about the fact that some permit holders are parking in non-permit areas. In other words, they do that in order to hold a space, in order for when their people come by or friends come by, then they can move their car and put their car in the street and they have a space for them. So we also talked about making that a violation before 10 o'clock at night. So a non-permit holder a permit holder will no longer be able to park in a non-permit area unless it's after 10 o'clock at night. So after 10 o'clock, you come home from work and you come home from work, you'll be able to park in that non-permit area after 10 o'clock, but not before. So those are two things that we're going to be introducing. Of course, we'll have a public hearing on that after the introduction, and then we'll be moving forward with that change. We also talked about our bus drivers will be working on Port Towns Day. We approved that. We talked about the legislative dinner and the fact that we normally have a legislative dinner in October or November, and because there was a delay in the four-town meeting, we won't be able to do that. So we'll talk about that in the next four-town meeting with the council, with the other towns of the Port Towns, and determine whether or not we want to go in the spring. We've talked about changing Monroe Street at 37th Place to a one-way street. Well, it would be Monroe and 37th Place would be one-way streets. As Councilmember Blue will be communicating individually with the residents in that area to see if there's a problem with them. But there is definitely a problem with a fire truck coming down that street if there's another car going the other way. And so that is a potential safety hazard. And so
You said 37?
37th Place, which is right here, the little street right here, and then Monroe. Because if anybody's on that street and someone else comes in, you can't crisscross each other at all. And then we excused Councilmember Jackson. She wasn't able to be at that meeting. We did the visitors passes for cars, yeah. And that's it. So that was the work session. All right, so moving on to the mayor's report. I'll give you my report. I'm having a lot to say in all of that time. Let's hear another voice, so we'll move on to our council member reports.
Good evening. I'd just like to let everyone know that everyone does know the children are back in school, so let's slow down. We do have officers out in the AM and the PM at the bus stops. And also attended Cottage City Day. It was a nice turnout. We had a nice group from Colmar Manor over there attending. Also, Mr. and Mrs. Cade had a vacation Bible school for the children in the community, and it was a nice turnout for that too. I got a positive remark from a citizen in town, said they seen our police officers walking through the town. They said it was very happy to see them walking through the town, so look forward to see more of that. The next Neighborhood Watch meeting will be September the 26th at 43rd and Monroe Street at 7 o'clock p.m. I know you're still walking your dogs, but please, some people are not cleaning up. Please try to pick up behind your dog. As the mayor said, at no time you can give your permit to anyone else to use in their car. That's only for you only. And I will be talking to the citizens on Monroe and 37th Place. Thank you.
Thank you. Ward 2?
Oh, good evening. I really don't have a ward report, but people still in my ward is still putting out their trash. And if you need a bulk pickup, call Bates on Wednesday before 2 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you. Ward 3?
Good evening. It's my last September as being your councilwoman. My report actually goes to the whole town. Homestead tax credit applications, the deadline is 12/31. It's something that will help out with your taxes. You can go on the website and they'll have an application for you. Also, I wanted to let the residents know if you've seen new trash cans in the town. I just want to thank former Councilmember Dorita Epps and former Mayor Julian Bethea. They worked on a grant together so the town can have more trash cans. So if you see them, both of those young ladies, just tell them thank you because they're really involved in the town. Also, the Port Town Health Wellness Center, we have a new social worker named Tony, and if I'm correct, she's there on Tuesdays. That's someone if they need assistance with WIC or food stamps. She also takes appointments. The phone number to the Port Town Health Wellness is 410-300-1832. Just want to say thanks to the mayor and council for having this service there because if someone needs some assistance, sometimes they have to go wait in long lines. We have this young lady that comes to us. Don't quote me on the date, but I think it's Tuesday, but I will confirm when she comes in, but you also can set up appointments. Also, I have some concerns residents on 41st Avenue. They would like the mayor and council to consider a speed calming device. Apparently, because we're so close to Bladensburg Road, a lot of people think like the cut through, and there's a lot of speeding going on. And now we have children that's in school, we're really concerned about that. If not a speeding device, maybe we can invest in some type of camera or something, just because that area, there is a lot of speeding going on. Councilmember Mendoza brought it to our attention that somebody was like drag racing. And I think it's because we're so quiet and we're so direct by the district. And like I said, it's an easy pass if you don't want to get light. If you don't want to go through the lights, they cut through our streets. So that's something that we can talk about at the next work session. I was not at the work session that was held last week. I was out of town. Also, I have a citizen, I also wanted to tell all citizens, the town of Colmar Manor, we do not discriminate against any gender, any ethnic group, any church religion. We welcome all. We're a diverse community, and by me saying that, I hope all of you all come out to Colmar Manor Day. We're having a fish fry. It's September the 28th. It's at the Newton Street Park. It's from 12 noon until 5 p.m. Do I have anything else? Also, if you haven't seen, I got a new grandbaby. She's 8 months. But thank you all, thank you. Don't forget, I'm not running next term. My seat is up. If anyone's interested in shadowing me for this position, let me know. Thanks.
All right, thank you very much. Ward 4?
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to say welcome back to all the students that their first, for PG County, their first week was just this past week. And with that being said, definitely with the kids at the bus stops, in the AM and the PM, just slow down. There's no need to have to jump in front of a car and tell them like, slow down. It's ridiculous how we don't need in Colmar Manor every street to have a speed bump. Just look out for your neighbors and look out for your kids. Definitely, it's exciting for the bazaar, so definitely get your vendor space. And I hope to see everyone also for Colmar Manor Day for the fish fry. And again, that date is September 28th, Saturday. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. All right, yeah, so well, I also want to welcome all the young people back to school, and I want to say to everybody, I hope you had a wonderful summer. We got a couple more weeks of summer, but hopefully that time that you spent with family and friends was very well. We're into October, we're moving on, we're into the seasons now. And I will remind everybody as well, so there's Port Towns Day, which is going to be on September the 21st. I understand they're full for vendors spots, so usually when it's full with vendors, it's going to be a great day, because you're going to have a lot of opportunities to get around and meet people, and maybe pick up some nice items and things like that, and eat some great food. I want to say that what we have continued over the last few months, meeting with Public Works and Code Enforcement every 2 weeks. So I meet with Public Works and Code Enforcement every 2 weeks, go over, we're streamlining their tracking programs, we're recording where they are, what they're doing, we're getting a good feel for what activities need to happen that aren't happening, and so we continue to meet every other week. Councilmember, you're all welcome to come in. We usually meet around 3 o'clock or so and go over where they are, what kind of things are on our tracking sheets that haven't been done. We're working on very much them communicating back to you as residents when they're taking activity or investigating something, so that you're informed that something is happening, because a lot of times our guys here are working, but because there's no communication back to the resident to say, oh, we're working on this right now, resident just thinks nothing's happening, because things have to happen in the background a lot before they can come to the forefront. So we're really working on getting them into that mode of actually communicating. I want to mention that we now have a school here in the community center. It's called the Royalty Institute. It's a charter school of Prince George's County, and we're very, very happy to have them here. It's an all-male school from grades 9 to 12, and they meet in the outreach room on a regular basis, and so we're really happy to have them on board here at the town hall, and great that we had the opportunity to share with them. I will mention that I'm working with the Maryland Black Mayors, and we're working on an innovative conference, which we're scheduling for April the 4th. I'm the treasurer with the Maryland Black Mayors, so I'm working on the committee team on this innovative conference. Look out for it. If you're interested and just find out what it's about, you can go out to our website called innovativeconference.com and see what it's all about. It's going to be on April 4th. Our intention is to try to invite some of the Democratic presidential campaign candidates, and also offer a lot of knowledge from the community. We just submitted, as of today, our second round for our Sustainable Maryland certification. We've held it now for, is it 3 years? 3 years. And so every 3 years you have to come back, go back in on it or whatever. And I just want to thank all of the people. I want to give the biggest shout out to Doretha Epps for the amount of work that she put into it. It's a very intense project, and so many of the council members, the garden club, the green team, everybody has put their fingers, and myself included, in together to try to really, get things done that shows that we're actually being sustainable. And you can't just write it down. You got to make it happen. The walk and talk the talk. You got to actually be doing it. So I pushed that button today, and after many people have done so much work for us to get that done. So I'm real excited about that. We will be getting a bike share on 40th Avenue, and so I'm really excited. It's been a long time coming, a lot of confusion about, where was the paperwork and all of that, but we've signed it off on it, and sent it out to the county for them to go ahead and get started. Hopefully by next month, we'll know when they're installing it. It will be on 40th Avenue in between the Burger King and the Shoppers, and
Great.
And that should be great.
Yeah, great.
Yes. I also got to go to Cottage City Day, and I want to shout out to them. They had a great day for themselves. We do now, and as a part of doing our, getting our certification, but we also have a stormwater management plan now, put together with short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals, which, through the Maryland Black Mayors and a program that they sent us all through about stormwater management, we were able to work that, try to find, and they're working on finding funders for us to fund the plan. And the plan includes things like the Newark Road, and a lot of the water holding there, 43rd Avenue, and where a lot of water holes on 43rd Avenue. The water problem that we have here at Lawrence at the park on Newton Street, the pooling of the water that we have over here by Dooling Creek, and several other different spots, and our Green Street, of course, and several other different spots, so that we have a plan to start addressing these things step by step. So I'm excited about that. If anybody's interested in getting the plan, just call the town hall. We'll send it to you, and if there's a way that you can participate, we'll be happy for you to do that. I did also want to mention that social services is back, and Councilmember Jackson gave you quite a bit of information there. And if you haven't seen it, and if we didn't mention it last month, I want you all to see the beautiful triangle at 40th Avenue and Newark Road. We had 8 residents that came out, including Councilmember Blue, who worked on, and of course I want to thank Mr. Baden for getting the grant that allowed us to do the work to get that triangle all cleared out and taken out. So it opened it up, so now it can actually absorb water and be permeable, and it's beautifully planted, and I thank everybody for working on that project. I also want to mention that our Public Works was able to go and help Roger Heights pick up furniture that they needed for the school that was being donated to them, and I want to thank Public Works for stepping out and actually helping and donating our time for that. And that's my report. Thank you. Okay, so now we'll go to the treasurer's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Should have a copy of the August 2019 Treasurer's Report. There's copies on the table. If anyone who's watching wants a copy, they can stop by the office and pick it up. This is for the first 2 months of the current fiscal year through August of 2019. The total budget for this year is $2,280,994, which also includes $769,291 of reserve funds in that amount. During the summer months, our revenues are usually on the low end, which is shown in the first column. You can see the July-August revenues, $45,782, broken down into a variety of accounts. None of them have really large figures in them. On the expenditure side, we have total expenditures of $221,746. So for the first 2 months, we have an operating deficit of $175,000. This is normal during this time of year. We usually get our larger real property tax monies in September, October timeframe, and also in January. So, in the next 2 reports, you'll see that change and that the revenues will be greater than the expenditures. Those expenditures broken down by department include general government expenditures of $40,700, senior van operations $11,905, code enforcement expenditures of $558. That doesn't include the officer that we share with Cottage City because they have not billed us for July and August. So they hire the officer, we share 50% of the costs, and then they bill us for those services. On this report, it's not showing up, so the $558, looks like a small amount, but it doesn't include the cost of the actual officer. Public Works expenditures were $36,096. Community Center operations, $50,512. A large portion of that, $39,171, is 2 months of debt service on the building loan that we had when we built the building. Public safety expenditures of $42,455. Recreation Community Center operations, $10,313. And again, the total of all those expenditures were $221,746. That's a quick overview of the report, and ask you to accept it as presented.
All right. Is there a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
I'll make that motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Is there a second?
Second that motion.
Okay, discussion. All right. So I'll point out a couple things that I note on the first page. Our police citations are at 64% of budget. So we clearly will probably exceed that citation income, which would be helpful since the red light camera is so much down. And code enforcement is at 94%. So I will definitely say that our police in code are out there doing their job.
Yep.
It's definitely showing up. I want to ask you, Mr. Baden, that our sale of solar credits is at 29% of our budget. Is that something that will trend that way, or is it variable?
It should be pretty consistent. I would hope that it continues to trend that way.
Okay. All right. That would be great, because we're up about 10% on what it would, or 15% on what it would be.
Yep.
The second page, we have the health insurance is at 33%. Do we pay quarterly or something like that?
We have a high deductible HSA account, which the town pays in at the beginning of the year for the entire year. So I think $13,500 of that amount, is related to that. So subsequent months will be significantly lower.
Got it. Great. Questions I have on that. Let me just take a quick gander at the, we're still, so if you could just look at fixing the negative amount in the deposits for hall rentals and the negative amounts for health insurance, liability, and AFLAC, small amount of AFLAC.
The hall rental deposits are because we just started at July 1st recording the hall rentals as a separate line item. So those are actually monies that I guess we received in that have not been paid back out. So, or I guess paid out that had been received in prior to July 1st.
Prior to July 1st.
Right, because we just
somebody had put it in, so then that meant that
we paid them out, so it made it a negative at the beginning of this fiscal year.
Right.
So, whereas the money going in and out for deposits, should equal zero eventually and should be a positive number, but I would imagine those are rentals that were paid for prior to July 1st.
July 1st.
Yep.
So maybe just so that we can have a clean month and look at this to see what it really is, we move that through a revenue, the way you were doing it before for just this amount right here. Because they were inside of rentals before, so maybe you just go and pull it out of rentals again, and because that's the way you were doing it before, which is the way it would have been, and then we can actually be able to use this account to really see where we are. And the 1770 deposit that is above that, is that for what is that for? Is that workers' compensation or something?
No, it's actually deposits that were paid for the utilities here at the building.
They haven't given it back to us?
When we originally built the building. So it was, I think Pepco and WSSC charges have been on the books for quite a while. and then one account, 1054, the Smith estate needs to be addressed at some point. The auditors actually asked, what our intent is with that. when
So
they
that's
were in.
money people, donated to us to go to?
That was actually, if you remember, we paid for a past council member's funeral expenses, Councilmember Smith. We were told that money from the estate would come back to the town. Well, the estate did not have any money in it, so that's
Oh, so it's
how
a
much
it's a
more.
receivable.
It's a receivable that we'll probably never collect. So,
All right, well, we can have more information and discussion about it at the work session.
Yeah,
So
'cause I
that
don't
Okay.
remember-
we can make a formal move on it.
That was a while ago, though.
it's been a long
Yeah,
while.
well, I wasn't even
I
on the
just-
council at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
I was off council during
Yeah.
that time. Well, it was a good thing, and we're looking now and trying to clean things up. I mean, that's the whole point, is really kind of narrow down into some things that haven't been looked at in the past.
Yep.
And then the real estate receivable, is that from our, what the state, the county owes us?
It's the amount at the end of the year that has not been collected from residents from the prior year's real property taxes that were billed.
So this is leaning on somebody's house. We lean on them?
Probably, or liens that the county could not collect, but that at the end, at June 30th, that was the balance of the real property taxes that were outstanding, that had been billed, not received.
Okay, so can we look at those, what those are at the next work session as well? So we can figure out what direction.
That's all
we'll
collected
do.
through the county, all the real property
You have the record of what
taxes
they are though, right? I just want to see the,
of the individual properties.
yeah. And the
I
stats.
could ask the county to provide them. They do all of the record keeping for the taxes.
Okay, well, if they can
So-
let us know what it is, but if it's a situation where we have to lien, we would need to have that on record where we're leaning,
The
right?
county,
Or this is
the county liens the properties for us for anything that is outstanding unless it's in foreclosure or something like that where they can't lien it.
Oh,
So
okay.
usually they lien the properties in March of every year, and then they collect the majority of the taxes through the lien process before the end of the year. But, there's $2,062 out of a total of about $900,000 that, was not collected.
Okay. And then what is deferred property taxes?
Those are mainly related to personal property taxes that were billed over a year ago and not collected. So they show up as a liability, and basically need to try to collect them.
So they're showing, so they're a liability and an asset, and they're deferred, okay, I get it. And it's showing the receivable, and then this is the deferred, because we can't put it on revenue because we're cash-based revenue for the town. Right, so I get it.
Okay.
Payroll. All right, those are mine. Anybody else have any questions, what you're looking at? All right, I will take a motion to accept the treasurer's report, Ward 1. Oh, no, we already did motion, whatever. So I take a vote on Ward 1.
Aye.
Ward 2.
Aye.
Ward 3.
Aye.
Ward 4.
Aye.
And the mayor votes aye. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, so we have the chief's report, and the chief wasn't able to join us today. She's away on a class. And just a summary of it. Do you want me to do it, or you want to?
You can.
Okay, so on August 1st, they reported a theft of service at the IHOP. Someone was walking out without paying. We had a theft again on August 1st. Officer Williams responded to a McDonald's. Somebody was stealing something out of somebody's parking book. The victim was riding in a car with two people. and when she came out the McDonald's, one of the...
Mayor, we can hear you, but
Oh, I'm so
it's not coming
sorry.
through.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect, sure. Okay, in the McDonald's, one of the occupants left and took the victim's purse. We had a shoplifting incident on August the 6th. Chief Miltonberger witnessed the shoplifter running out of the shoppers. Apprehension was made. The suspect was arrested. Theft from auto on August 6th. Captain Calloway responded to his shoppers for theft from auto. The captain made contact with the owner, and he stated that he noticed the inside of the vehicle was ransacked and his trunk was opened. The shoplifter on August the 11th, Chief Muttenberger responded to the CVS for a report of shoplifting. The suspect stole items and fled the store. The suspect was given a criminal citation and barred from the shopping center. Attempted shoplifting on August the 12th. Officer Williams responded to AJ Liquors for attempted shoplifting. The suspect was barred from the property. A theft on August the 14th. Captain Calloway responded to the shoppers for a person eating from the food bar. Oh, jeez. Upon arrival, the suspect was gone and later found on Bladensburg Road, and the suspect was barred from the property. Vandalism. On August 17th, Chief Miltonberger was driving and observed a window shattered and made notification to the owner. The owner advised nothing was taken or moved. Then there was a disorderly on August the 12th, and Officer Williams responded to the CVS for a disorderly inside of the store. Officer Williams conducted a warrant check, which revealed the suspect had an open warrant through Arlington, Virginia. The suspect was transported to the Department of Corrections. Okay, so overall, for our report, we have there were 3 accidents, 1 assault, 1 check in an auto, 9 welfare checks, 7 disorderlies, 1 domestic, 1 fraud, 12 loud music complaints, alarm, check, theft from a vehicle, 2, and theft, a theft in general, 6. And those were the incidents for the month. Is there any motion to accept the chief's report?
Yes, I'll make a motion as stated.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
I'll call for a vote. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I didn't mention on my report about the loud music. I did have quite a few residents in my ward was concerned about the loud music. It wasn't that weekend party, but these are during the weekdays and during working hours. I just asked residents, please be curious of your neighbors. They have to get up and go to work, or they may work at night and be asleep in the morning. We all have to live here. They pay taxes just like you. Please be curious. I do ask the residents, if you do, are you uncomfortable, the music's too loud, call 911, because you should not be uncomfortable in your own home. That's it.
Okay, very good. I'll echo that, I've heard a lot about loud music recently. Summer's winding down, so maybe there'll be less of those activities, but again, we have a need for respect in the community. Make sure you let your neighbors know when you're going to have an event, trying to end it at a reasonable time. As I mentioned before, the current noise ordinance from the county, which is what we follow, no longer has a time on it. It's based on a volume which is not workable, it's not enforceable in an urban environment, because you could be sitting on your porch next to the house next to you and talking. If they can hear you, you're violating the noise law, and it's impossible to do, is to sit on your porch next to someone, your next door neighbor in an urban environment. I have communicated my concerns with Councilmember Ivy, who's our council member in the county, about them readdressing that particular voice regulation because it doesn't fit urban environments. I will also mention, and this is just today, I want everybody to be very diligent. I am aware, not here in this town, but a friend of mine who left their car unlocked, wallet on the seat, wallet gone. And when there's a theft from an auto and your vehicle was unlocked, it is just disruptive in so many different ways. It's disruptive to you personally because you have to deal with what just happened. But then the police have to be called in, and then, they need to see if they figure out what they can do. And there's not much that they can do. Lock your car. It's just not that hard. And to that note, I just want to say we've observed today there was a gentleman in town, which those who saw him do not find him familiar. And we know certain people who we know familiar, but this person is not, going around checking to see whose doors are open in their car. And that was just this evening. And just going through down the street, seeing who somebody left their car door open. And this happens. If your car door is locked, you don't have to worry about these things. So Officer Williams observed him leaving town towards Bladensburg, and he didn't see him actually doing it, and so therefore he couldn't actually take action. But he's left town at this point, but that doesn't mean he doesn't come back. Please lock your car. I'll take a vote unless there's other discussion. Ward 1? That's you.
Aye.
Ward 2?
Aye.
Ward 3?
Aye.
Ward 4?
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. All right, thank the chief for that report. Okay, next item on is unfinished business. Well, this unfinished business actually should be the adoption of the ordinance, which is number 9A. It's not new business. It's unfinished business. Okay, so as you guys have known, we have made changes. This is adoption of ordinance 04-2019, trash and recycling containers. I did miss something out of my report. So we introduced this ordinance
June 11th.
on June 9th,
I thought it was
and
June 11th.
on June 9th. And basically what this ordinance does is it requires that you have a lid, a closed lid on your trash can as well as your recycling. I mean, as you all know, previously our recycling was in those little bins that were wide open, so that wasn't a part of the ordinance, but now it is a part of the ordinance because our recycles are actually have lids, so they should be closed at all times. And also that there will be a fine generated for plastic bags in your recycling bin. So we still observe, even though we've sent it out many times to people in many different ways about not putting plastic in the plastic bins, people still put their recyclables in a trash bag and then put the trash bag in the can. Once you put your recyclables in a trash can, they become trash. They are no longer recyclable. So your effort of separating everything just got totally diminished as soon as you put it in a trash bag and tied it up. It is now trash. It is not recyclable. So we found, just like with the parking permits, that in order to get compliance, we usually have to go to some sort of a fine penalty scenario. We will start out with warnings prior to it, and because this is such a problem, I would really like for us to adopt this as an emergency ordinance, so that the code enforcement officer can actually start doing warnings. Over the last month, we had a hearing last month on the second Tuesday of the month, can't remember what the date was, and we also have sent out the ordinance to our full email list several times. We've also sent out an email where it specifically speaks of the plastic bags and also the lids on the containers. So observing that perhaps lids are not up because someone doesn't have enough room in the trash can, because we provide trash cans for you, is not a reason that you can't buy a trash can if you need an extra trash can. If you have a large family, for quite a while now, we have offer for you to contact your council people at person, tell them what your circumstances is, you have a large family and you need another trash can, and we've been providing an additional trash can for large families. So if that's your need, then you should do that. But at the end of the day, your lid will need to be closed to move forward. And so with that said, that's the basis of what this is about. I will accept a motion for us to adopt this ordinance 04-2019 as an emergency ordinance adoption.
I'll make a motion to adopt the ordinance 0-4-2010, trash recycle containers.
Is there a second?
I'll second motion stated.
Any discussion?
No.
Yes, the green team will also try to send out more information to the residents, as we did before. Just please do not put plastic in the trash can. I myself have to stay on my family of making sure the trash can is closed and stay on my son. So we'll try to send some more information out.
Thank you. Yeah, me too. I always have to stay on top of my adult children about, hey guys, this is what we're supposed to do. I also mentioned that at this point in time, we're expecting Bates to be here to communicate with us at our town meeting next month in October. They've already agreed to come, and I met with, which I meant to mention in my report, I met with the general manager, operations manager, last week, and really reported on the challenges that we have with Bates. And there is a significant amount of inconsistency. We have the challenge where people call for their bulk trash and can't get an answer on the phone. They had a confusion about what days were holidays. Our contract says the only holidays they take off is Christmas, New Year's, and 4th of July, but they have been treating Memorial Day and Labor Day as days that they would take off, so it was very confusing because we reported one thing to our community and then another thing happened. There's an issue when yard waste didn't get picked up at all.
Yep, I have
And-
pictures.
Got pictures, yes, and management didn't know it. We have so many issues where the trash cans are either left on the ground in the middle of the street. We have an issue where the collectors are taking the trash out with their hands instead of dumping the can, and they leave trash behind themselves, and they have a lack of monitors. So we're in an intense situation in dealing with the Bates, the circumstances of Bates, and whether or not they may be able to continue to be our trash company. My conversation with them was that I felt like there was a structural problem in the system. And it's not just, okay, come, they're gonna do pretty good for the next month, probably, because I just had this meeting. But that's not the way to solve it, because that always happens after we have a confrontation. They're good for a little while, and then it goes bad again. I just want you to know that we are not lost on this issue as a body, and that our contract goes through June 30th this year, and I've already asked Mr. Baton to start doing some research on what other trash companies are out there if we have to go. I really would love to not leave Bates. We were their first customer from, I don't know, what, 30 years ago?
Yep.
And it would do them good to be listening, paying attention, and recognize it's not about the squeaky wheel, it's about your structure. There is a problem in the cement. It's a systemic problem within the structure of how things are working, and it needs to be resolved from inside in order to deal with a respectful workforce that's available and respect our community when they come into our community. So I did want to let you know that we are having that conversation, and that's one of the reasons this ordinance is so important, because we're saying how many things they're doing wrong. We need to fix what we're doing wrong. And what we're doing wrong big time is these plastic bags inside the recycling, because that costs money. You take recycling, you make money. You take trash, you pay money. So we got to fix that so that we can really, put the, Bates on notice to try to resolve their issues. All right, with that said, I'll call for a vote. Ward 1?
Aye.
Ward 2?
Aye.
Ward 3?
Aye.
Ward 4?
Aye.
And the mayor votes aye. That's a unanimous vote, which is required for an emergency ordinance, and so we'll reach out to Inspector Richardson tomorrow to start looking to warnings. All right, we have a budget adjustment, Mr. Baden. I don't know why it has my name on here, but this is obviously Mr. Baden.
Ordering that myself. Yep, so you have a spreadsheet in your packet titled Town of Colmar Manor Budget Adjustments at 6/30/19. These are adjustments that need to be made for grants we received during the year, additional revenue sources that we received, additional expenditures related to those grants, and some additional expenditures, within various departments. There's quite a few of them here. I don't want to go through all of them. I'll highlight some key ones, and then if you have any other questions, we can answer those as well. So on the revenue side, income taxes were budgeted at $100,000. The actual income tax revenue came in at $139,637. So I'm asking that we increase the revenue budget for income taxes by $39,000 as an additional revenue source. Continuing down, about 2/3 of the way down on that first page, you see community legacy permeable pavers, $20,000. That was a grant we received. We did not include that as a budget item originally. We actually had in fiscal year 18 budget, but it carried over to 19 before we actually received it, never included it in the budget originally. So put that $20,000 in as a budget item. Clean Up Green Up grant, $4,235. This was a grant that we received during the year. So didn't have an original budget amount. Vacant house registrations, $1,845. Again, we did not budget anything for that. The actual revenue for the year is $1,845. So we increased the revenue by that amount. Community Parks and Playground Grant, again, this was one that we did not budget for. Most of the work was actually done in fiscal year 18. We anticipated all to be done then, but we didn't receive the revenue or book the expense till this year. So that's a $188,157 adjustment. Same thing with CDBG PY 43. This was grant funds for street work, curb gutter, sidewalk work within the town. $59,635 was the amount of work this year. So you need to include that as a revenue source. You'll also see it on the expenditure side. Property cleanup, we never know during the year how many properties we're going to need to abate during the year, so we don't budget anything for that. These are properties that have code violations. The owner does not take care of the violation, such as tall grass, things like that, accumulation of debris. We send our Public Works Department in, they clean the property, we then lien the property or build the property for that work. So that was $4,578. And then the last revenue items on the second page, which is parking permit violations. We implemented the parking permit violation program during the year, so we didn't budget at budget time any revenue from that. That is $1,035. So all of those revenue adjustments would increase the revenue budget by $318,485. So on the expenditure side, again, there's quite a few adjustments. Some of them related to the revenue side for the grants. Some of them are just small amounts that an expenditure item might have gone over by. On page 3, you could see account 5084, Community Parks and Playground Grant, $188,157. This again was related to the revenue that came in. We used as an expenditure for the park on, is it Newton Street? No. Is it Newton?
Newton.
What was that?
The Newton Street Park?
What,
The playground.
Yes,
Yeah.
Newton Street Park.
Yep. The cleanup, green up grant, again, that's put in there. About halfway down, you see legal counsel, $12,300. We had additional legal expenses associated with a couple personnel issues. Again, we have smaller amounts. There was 11,000 left in retirement, or 11,000 that I'm using out of retirements to offset some of those increases in other line items. Going on to page 4, senior van expenditures for the these were maintenance costs for the van. $8,755. We've had some major work done on both of the vans during the year, and actually continue to have some issues with those. They're getting older. The good thing is that we share these expenditures with the other port towns, Bladensburg, Cottage City, and so they pay a proportionate share of those expenses. Going down under Public Works, you see $59,635 for CDBG street work. That's exactly the same amount as the revenue side increase that we had for the street work. Some other smaller costs for gasoline, workers' comp, maintenance expenses, mosquito control and street lighting that needed to be brought up to cover shortfalls in those accounts. On page 5 of 6, you have the community center, public safety transfers. We were able to use $7,018 from gasoline to help cover some of the other shortfalls. We had some vacancies in the police department, didn't have as much vehicle gasoline expenses. And then under the community center operations on page 6, mainly salaries and additional payroll taxes related to the community center operations that attributed to additional events and things that we put on, and additional cleaning costs associated with the personnel in the recreation department. So the total of all those expenditures equal the same amount as the revenue, $318,485. So that's a pretty good overview of the adjustments that are being recommended in order to bring the budgeting line with the actual revenue and expenditures for fiscal year 19.
Is there a motion to accept the budget adjustments?
I'll make that motion, Dave.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion? So in the areas, okay, I'm trying to understand this. So like in the areas, there's like on the last page, community center operations, where there's all this underspending.
Can't hear you, Mayor.
On the last page, on the community center operations, there's all this underspending. Why wouldn't they just offset one another inside of the department?
It was kind of hard. I mean, you do a whole lot more transfers by doing that. Instead, I use mainly the additional revenue sources from income taxes and some of the other revenue items to offset the majority of those. So instead of, taking small amounts from individual accounts to try to make it all up, I took larger amounts from the revenue side.
Okay, any other discussion?
Thank you. It's very detailed, easy to follow. Thank you.
I didn't hear you.
Thank you.
Oh,
Very detailed,
you're welcome.
easy to follow.
You're welcome.
All right, I'll call for a vote. Ward 1,
Aye.
Ward 2,
Aye.
Ward 3,
Aye.
Ward 4,
Aye.
and the mayor votes aye. All right, thank you.
And I did want to point out one other item. I mean, the first column actually, it has the actual figures that were submitted to audit, and the total revenue for the year is $1,804,000. Total expenditures for the year were $1,761,000, so we actually have an operating surplus of $43,000 for the last fiscal year. So, on the $1.7 million budget, that was pretty tight to begin with. I think the mayor, council, and staff, did a pretty good job in, keeping us close to a balanced budget, under the circumstances we had to work on. And fiscal year 20, which we're in now, is probably even going to be harder. So we're actually using some of our surplus funds in the fiscal year 20 budget, about $73,000, in order to fund all of the operating expenses for the town. The good side of that is we have about a $760,000 surplus from prior years that we could use for that. So the town is in a good financial position.
Yes, and I'll just point out, and thank you, Mr. Bain, for making that point, because if anyone is looking at the record and looking at the 4271 on the first page, where we would normally collect $230,000 within the red light cameras, we collected $113,000 less than expected. And so coming into this year, we've had to completely take that out of the budget altogether and figure out how we were going to balance the budget with that major loss. And even with that said, I'd like to say, encourage you, our Daily Bazaar can definitely be a huge source of income for us in the town and make up that shortfall. So you participate, you make some money, we make some money, we help keep your taxes down. So it all works all together. Thank you, Mr. Baton.
You're welcome.
All right, the next item on the agenda is Growing Green with Pride. So, every fall, no matter who's the county executive at the time, they always have a program of Growing Green. Councilmember Jackson, do you know more about what any plans the Green Team wants to move with this?
The Green Team, all the Green Team and the Garden Club, we didn't meet for the month of August, so this is something I will be bringing to their attention for our September meeting.
Okay, when is the September meeting?
The Garden Club meeting is on the 21st, but the Green Team meeting is September the 17th, which will be held here. It's a joint meeting with Cottage City. The meeting is open to everyone. So I'm pretty sure that this is something that we would like to do. And we're looking for volunteers. Come out, beautify your town.
Okay, so our registration deadline for signing up is October the 4th. So that gives you time to plan out out of those meetings.
Yes.
Please let the
So, yeah, and I'll meet with we have a master gardener live in town, and she knows all about the plants, so we have quite a few people that I can meet with her before, because I know we have to make selections of
right
certain
to
things
pick and
that we
choose
want.
plants we want.
So I can do that in advance, and, yeah, we can send it off.
Okay, and we'll put this out on the website. Call to sign up to be a volunteer on that day to help clean up. As soon as the Green Team determines which sections of town we want to focus on, we can put teams together. If you sign up early to work with each team and where they're going to be in town. So please call in. Want to make sure we get this up on our website and Facebook page for Colmar Manor. And not just this document, we'll be the leads. What we need is for people to call Colmar Manor
And get
Town
community
hall.
service hours
Yes,
also.
to get that.
and sign up with us.
And get
We
community
will
service
be the
hours.
lead organization. And if you need community service hours, you can get that working with us as well. So,
Yes. And you don't have to be a part of the Green Team nor the Garden Club.
That's
You
right,
just want
right.
to be, to beautify your town. You might have great ideas. You just, sometimes, I know people can't make it to some of our meetings because they're in the evening and they work, but we're open to all suggestions. This is your town, my last September as your councilwoman.
And then and there'll be plantings, so that we'll continue to put in new plantings in town.
Yeah.
And you get to participate in that. So, like the councilmember said, you don't have to be a part of the Green Team.
Yeah.
And councilmember, please let the staff know it's something that they can do from a paperwork perspective to help.
Okay, okay.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, so moving on, we have, I don't think we have a senior report.
From Ed, no.
No, I hope Mr. Ed is doing well.
I've seen him, yes.
Yeah, you seen him? Good.
He was at our business meeting Monday night.
He's doing good.
Awesome, great.
good.
Great to hear that, thank you. Garden Club,
Yes, I'm getting a report for Dorita Epps. She says, I have my grandbaby Dawson. We want to, the Colmar Manor Garden Club want to thank the University of Maryland students that come out every year. They came out and help us clean the weeds from out of the West Garden. We really want to thank you for doing that. We want to also let the Garden Club members that we will be filling up our water tank twice a month. We have been filling up the water tank quite a few times because it's been so hot, and also some of the users have been leaving the tank dripping. So we're asking if you're coming to your garden, if the water tank is empty, just be prepared to bring some extra water because that does come out of the town fund. So we will be making sure that the tanks are filled twice a month, but let us know. Also, our next meeting will be on September the 21st. That's still Port Towns Day, but we'll be meeting in the morning. I'm not sure what location we'll be meeting at because we're not sure as far as with the weather. But if it's raining, we'll be here in the outreach room or in the conference room. Also, let former Councilmember Dorita Epps, our Garden Club president, please let her know if you all would like to keep your garden for the fall. We have Reverend Addison kids coming in October, and they'll be cleaning all the garden beds out. But if you would like to continue garden for the fall, that's not a problem. Just please let her know. I want to say congratulations to all our Garden Club members, our mayor and council, that we just received a letter for the beautification for the garden. I'm not sure if we got an award for both, but the letter came in the mail.
yeah.
And there's a dinner that goes in effect. Usually I go, sometimes council, usually I go, but I think it'd be great if a citizen would go and receive the award and take pictures. I know it's,
I think Julian went one time
yeah,
before.
Julianne, yeah, she goes all the time. 'cause
She
her
does,
garden,
okay,
yeah.
I know I've been there.
So if
before.
someone's interested in going. One other mention. I just want to mention Mike Gorn, our public work for making a suggestion with, for us to ask University of Maryland. We're looking for someone to design a design for our garden club, which we wanted to do
Logo?
free. Yeah, logo, something in Ward 4. You know, we had one that we didn't get but it's all kind of messed up. So Dorita reached out to University of Maryland. They're all excited and asked her if they can have the artists come in, and would we like to have more than one? So we're excited, and hopefully we get a new garden sign. So
Oh, nice.
thanks to Mike Gorn for making that suggestion, because we're trying to save money. As you see on the budget, the Garden Club have $0, so we are looking for all donations. Any type of ideas for fundraising ideas, let us know. Thanks.
All right,
Are we
thank
meeting
you.
this month?
Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
September the 21st
21st.
at 10 o'clock. Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
That's it.
And do you know, do they limit the number of people that can go to the dinner from your?
We have to RSVP and let them know. I know in the past, it can be a table. It's
Yeah.
free, but you gotta let them know first come, first serve. Yeah, how many, so it can be a table.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay, do we have a recreation report?
We have boot camp here on Wednesdays and martial arts on Thursday, and it's $50 a month. So if you're interested, just give Anthony a call at 301-437-3125. And Zumba here on Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:15 and Saturday at 9:30. And we're still looking for volunteers for our Colmar Manor Day. So if you're interested, just give Renee a call here at the town hall. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you very much, appreciate it. Is there a rec council meeting coming up? I know mostly nobody meets in August, but it used to be the first Monday in the month?
It's 7 o'clock here at the town hall.
Okay. So then that would be for October.
October 7th.
The 7th?
Will be the next meeting, yes.
Okay, October 7th for the next rep council meeting. Okay, PGCMA report.
With PGCMA, we just met, the new body just met this past Saturday. We had a we had a retreat, and it was very successful. It was in Hyattsville. The new theme for PGCMA this year is increasing our knowledge and appreciating our greatness. So with the Prince George's PGCMA, a lot of us with mayor along with the council members, we do take on other roles in other organizations. And fortunately, this is my 3rd year being on the board of PGCMA. I'm proud to be with the organization, and we're going to meet North Brentwood. That's our first meeting next month. It's every 3rd
Thursday.
of the month. So
And I think we're
I
here
look
in
forward to give
February.
you a report for that meeting.
Did a lady call you? Because she had called here on February.
Oh, yes. So we're going to be hosting in November.
I thought
I'll
it
wait
was
for-
February, but
No,
okay.
no. Yeah, so it's November.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. I will mention our modest council member has been nominated by the president of MML for a vacant seat on the board of MML. So, for her to be thought of as a seat becoming vacant is excellent. We really look forward to
Thank
it.
you.
In increasing diverse views in the board of MML. Okay, do we have any citizen comments? All right, if you can come up and just tell us the street that you live on in the 100 block, your name first.
Hey, my name is Lawrence Moats. I actually live in Calvert County. I'm not a citizen here. I'm just
okay.
I'm a volunteer at Brentwood. Just to let you guys know, October 12th from 11:30 to 3 is going to be our open house. For those that don't know, October is Fire Prevention Month, so that is going to be our day. That's also our volunteer staffing day. We're going to have Hyattsville Squad 1 doing a car cutting drill for the public. We're hopefully going to have the 911 simulator system for the kids. That way they know their phone number, their address, and what to do when they call 911. And I want to say thank you for the donation. And along with the 12th, hopefully we'll have some light food, maybe some hot dogs and hamburgers and some drinks and chips.
All right. Well,
Thank
thank you.
What time is that on the 12th?
11:30 to about 3.
Okay. 11.
Do you have a flyer?
Yeah.
That's the thing. I do not have a flyer. That's the only thing I haven't completed as of yet. Once we get that, I'll have my president send it to you guys. That way you can put it out to the town. We're also going to hopefully be going throughout the local businesses within the 5 towns and distributing the flyers, posting it. That way the community knows that this is what we're doing.
Okay, great.
That's great. Yeah, please get us a flyer. We'll put it up on our Facebook page
Yep.
and website and all that kind of
Yep.
stuff, and we'll be able to send it to our email list of the residents and so forth. And so I wanted to just tell you, so in the future, if the fire department wants to be on our agenda, to be
Okay.
able to speak to us in the community about anything, you can just call the town hall, we'll put you on the top of the agenda.
Okay.
And you won't have to sit through the whole.
It's all good. If we're coming to a meeting, we have nothing else to do unless we have radios, then we're riding, which I'm
Okay.
not riding at the moment.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed our whole meeting about the town.
It's
Thank
okay.
you.
It's knowledge to me. I've never actually been to a Colmar Manor meeting before.
Oh,
Welcome.
awesome.
Oh,
Welcome.
This is my
welcome,
first meeting.
right.
Well, thank you. Thank you for coming, and we hope we're going to get a lot of people out. And if you also have any fire prevention type tips or brochures or
Yep.
things like that, that
We'll
we can
have
start
everything there.
shooting
We've
out.
got goodie bags and everything
Yeah.
on the way to set up, and we're just trying to do our part to get volunteers, because right now it's kind of getting tough with the county right now. We're battling the county, to be quite honest. They're trying to take our ladder truck from us. So
Yeah.
Well, we really appreciate you because we know if something happens here in the town, you're the first ones there. I can say from experience, I appreciate you. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you
And
so much.
the only other thing I do have with regards to speed bumps, keep us in mind. Those kind of tear up our fire trucks a bit.
That's what we've
I
been
know.
Yeah.
It's something that, yes, we do have to stop for them, but we have noticed within stopping for every speed bump, we're losing precious time on responding to a call that
Absolutely.
we shouldn't be losing. But sometimes it just kind of is what it is sometimes. But we work around that and we do our best.
Yes. Well, I appreciate you, and I appreciate you saying that, because that is a valuable thing also for residents to understand, that when they are asking for a speed hump, that they're asking for a slow response.
Right.
When a speedy one is needed in a serious situation. So we can also look at other traffic calming methods as well. So
And
thanks for
the one-way should not be an issue. We generally try to follow ordinary traffic patterns. The only way we would take that street is if nobody was coming down the street. If someone would happen to turn down the one-way, we would do the best we could in that situation to either have that car move over or we'll move over for that car.
It's a small, tiny street.
Yeah.
Again,
just-
how we got into the conversation, this is really,
Yeah, just one question, and maybe a silly one, but I have a grandbaby. Could you let us know when Santa Claus is coming in town?
Okay, so Santa Claus, we try to do that planning in the beginning of December. We don't really map it out like we used to. We kind of just go at the fly, but we're getting better at trying to let the towns know. We've seen some departments put out little signs.
Yes.
That's going to be kind of hard for us to do because we do have 5 towns that we have to
Right,
provide
right.
Santa Claus for. So we're gonna do our best, and you will be the first to know when we're coming to Colmar Manor, because we try to do 2 towns a night. If not, we'll do it one weekend, and or Saturday, Sunday to make sure everybody gets to see Santa Claus.
okay.
Thank
Another
you.
question I had.
Thank you.
In the past Fire Prevention Day, that week, we usually have a couple of the fire departments come in and walk and check the citizens' outlets and stuff like that for safety. Maybe I'll have Chief Miltonberger to call and set up a date. Maybe we could do that,
Yeah.
for heaters and different things that was causing fires.
Yeah, we actually did. I don't believe we did it in Colmar Manor, but I know in part of Mount Rainier and part of Brentwood, we actually did a smoke detector crawl. We had an abundance of citizens call and say they need smoke detectors. We're not sure what to do with them. So the Red Cross actually reached out to us and said, we'll set up the day, we'll take care of it, and we went through the town and did that. So that'll probably be something we look into as well.
But we would love to
Thank
have that.
you.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Very much,
Uh-huh.
very much. All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so
Any other
much.
questions or anything?
No, thank you so much. for
Hopefully,
coming out.
it'll be either myself or maybe a couple other members. We're trying to attend all the town meetings. That way, we're talking to each other. And know in past administrations, it's
What is your
been-
number to? We didn't get that.
So, I'll give you
You
the
have a card?
firehouse number. I do not have a card because I'm not in a position of power in the department.
Okay.
But I can either relay email addresses or I can relay the chief or the president's business card. I can bring some of those
Okay.
to future meetings. But we're trying to work with all towns. We need you guys as much as you need us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We're
We
here to
also
serve
would
you
like to,
guys, and we got to work together.
Send your
Yes.
flyer, well, send your flyer to Kay Cooper.
I'll take that down in a minute, 'cause
Okay.
I didn't bring my pad up with
Yeah.
me.
Okay.
We have a senior club
And,
meeting also, and it would be nice if we could have them come out and speak with those
Yeah.
also, Mayor.
Yeah.
Okay? Thank you very much.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you,
take care.
thank you.
I'll get you a card. All right. All right,
We got another citizen.
citizen report. Come on up. State your name and your
Case.
100 block street.
How y'all doing? My name is Brandon Presco, on 40th, I'm on 40th place in Colmar Manor. I've been here, I got a few things, I'm gonna be brief. Since I've been here, it's been some months, so I appreciate the, 'cause I was asking for this and it finally got done, newly paved street on Newark. I appreciate y'all.
Can you pull, just,
You can't hear what you're saying.
unscrew it and then pull it on up? Yeah.
Okay. Let me lean over here.
Thank you.
So I appreciate the newly paved street. It finally got in there, and thank you for, cars were scraping the bottom, the people were scraping the bottom of their cars, so thank you. The newly planted median by the market, approaching the market, and by the town sign, thank you. I didn't add, and it's not me, but it's for the town. But
Yeah.
that's a good look, I know I missed the bad news when I come in, but these are concerns, okay? This is not, you could take the criticism, it's all with respect. I appreciate the job that you all do. And I want to say this because I watch and I'm up front, okay? I see body language. Everybody, the 3 people over here, they serve at your behest and at the town, okay? So I see this. Got questions? We need to ask. And frankly, I know things happen, but we pay the highest taxes in Prince George's County. This municipality. I, and as well as the people here who just, I don't know for what reason, but I'm gonna speak for me. I expect more. We used to be the highest paying municipality in all of Maryland. Let that sink in, let that marinate for a minute. Why? They tell me because of this building. But now we about 4th. Challenge me on that. But we pay the highest taxes in the county. So with that said, I'm seeing new faces now. Can I say you a new junkie? No. Am I the oldest in this town? No. But I've been around enough. I see new ladies, whatever they doing, new faces. After 10 o'clock, it's wide open. So, I can't, and it's not my job. I'm not the police. But I live on a corner. When they leave, it's wide open. So, it was my fault. 3 weeks ago, my daughter's bike was stolen. I looked at it, I said, man, I'm not going to lock it up. On the ring. The guy's on the ring. He's taking it, he's taking the bike. So that was my fault. Talking with my neighbor 2 days ago, they stole all his lawn except his lawnmower. And I'm sitting there talking to him, I didn't even know it until he pointed it out to me. So I was victimized the same night, because I knew it had to be the same night. I was victimizing 3 people on my side, so my neighbor on the end, his car was broken into, and then on that street, I don't know the street, it's 40th place, and it's the one, not Newark, but the other street. I've been here so long. Newton. So somebody on that block right there, on Newton, between 40th Avenue and 40th Place, was victimized. So, but they have no faith in the police, so that's why they don't speak. So, just share that with you. And I wish the chief was here this evening, you know, but we have things to do. I heard about the van, and we paying the vans. We need new vans. It has the PG bus on there. We like grants, get grants, and I didn't know it's all of poor towns. Share the cost. New vehicles. You know, you got the citizens in this town. I don't use it, but and make sure make a metro stop while you at it in the morning. It won't hurt. The property, the church property, beautiful structure. I was against it. I think I spoke to you, it's a good look. So I take that back. But as the church, all that brush, now they're not complete, it's not finished, but all that brush between their building and the levee, all that, people living in those bushes, doing all kind. I don't know what they doing down there, because I'm walking the dog. You know, and it's just also beside the church. Like I said, they're not finished. So all that brush, you know, the town sign and all of that. I keep reiterating that. Maybe y'all could get around to that, but change the town signs. I saw a digital sign in Hyattsville. Find the money. It's there. We pay all this tax money. Find the money, please. The last thing, you know, with the trash contract, you know, I worked for those gentlemen before, and I may end up, because of the way I'm contracted and what I do. So I'll just say this: they're very thorough businessmen, men who. One of the guys who run the trash company is very large, but it's unacceptable, even not to show up at a meeting. It's unacceptable. Mm-hmm. And the way the trash and the bulk trash is set up in this town, I've been here 14 years, approximately. It was better before, but now it's just stuff that's set out. And we have a public works department that still has to kick in and say, okay, if a trash can is out on the street, you got to get out your truck and put it back on the sidewalk. But yes, it's not good at all. So we need to do that. We have a lot of, along with public works, we have a lot of vegetation in the gutters. A street sweeper will help with that. They street sweep my plant. They street sweep, and it's in Virginia. The big road right there. I know that it's different, but we need a street sweeper. Along with that, this is my last thing I'll point out. All along Newark Avenue, you will have, and this is along the police. I'm touching on the police again. After 10 o'clock, these cars, they pull up and they eating their food. They toss it out. And it's especially bad behind the car wash. So, you know, the loitering, it's still there. You know, you know, those are my concerns. I think I pretty much got everything. But yes, I don't mean to be negative, but these are concerns, okay? And I appreciate you giving me this platform. And, you know, I know it will get better. In 10 years, it will be better. I'm seeing the changes, you know. I can see the changes in Cottage City. So I know it's, you know, I don't know what's planned, but I see it will have to be. You get new citizens are moving in. And you know, I hope y'all can keep up. We can keep up. That's all. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Prescott. I just want to ask you one question I didn't quite get. You said something about a metro stop? Did I miss that wrong?
I didn't.
Metro stops for the town bus or something?
No, no, I was saying in the morning, when you know, when you get the new van, you know, take your citizens to the metro.
Oh, using the van and
okay.
taking it.
Just make one round in the town. I'm basing this off of the town. I think he searched University Park. Okay. You know they have their own trash service, right? Okay.
Yes.
But y'all will have the same problem, pretty much. But you should hire from the town. There's plenty of good, reputable people, young men here. They probably work other places, but you give them a job offer, you know, they might just do it. It's only a couple of days a week. And you could take this trash and we beeline it straight to the landfill. You have to make these considerations. You could remove from the contract the bulk trash.
Well, one thing I can.
You can do that. Just let them pick the trash. Matter of fact, add the extra day again. How about that? I'll give you a solution. Add an extra. I want my trash picked up twice. Okay? China not taking recyclable, so I don't know what's going on. For me, I work for Covanta. I don't know what's going on with the recycle. I see it get burnt up. That's what I see. I know where the recyclables are going. They're not going. They're going to my I know the plant that I work in. It's getting burnt up. So you know, charging me, it's all trash to me. I would tell you, I'll be honest, I don't recycle. I don't. Because I know where it's going. So that I hope that might help you out. Add the extra trash day, remove the bulk. You all can rent the truck, add an extra guy, get all of it up. I listened to the toilet sitting in there for weeks, or sitting outside for weeks. Then the former mayor say that some months ago. She said she saw some toilet sitting out. Well, anyway, it's just bulk trash. It sits out. Get it off the street. It's unsightly. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you
Hey,
so much.
and I'm also working on my house. So, but I spoke to the code guy. I have all my permits and stuff like that. So, that's unsightly too. So, it'll be fixed. Hopefully by Thanksgiving.
Well,
thank you. Have a nice day.
appreciate it. Thank you. So, Ms. Prescott, I want to thank you so much for actually observing some of the things that we've been trying to get done, to get some of those things done. Mr. Prescott? I was just trying to give you some feedback on some of the things that you said. I was thanking you for appreciating some of the changes that we've really been working hard to make. And I will reach out to the chief about the experience on Newark Road, and you said particularly after 10 o'clock. So you're not the only one that has reported some concern about Newark Road, but one of the things that you might have missed earlier, we are changing the non-permit parking areas to require they have a visitor permit. So no longer people who just want to use our street and leave their cars or whatever, which I know you're affected on Newark Road the most, no longer will we have that problem. It will be somebody who's visiting somebody in town, and hopefully that'll make that better. And I wanted to ask you, with the lawnmower being stolen and your daughter's bike, was it reported? Okay, to the police? You reported the bike to the police? Okay, all right, I just wanted to make sure that we keep up on that. I also want to mention to you that I have asked Inspector Richardson to make the churches brush a priority in staying on top of them. I know they're still working on it, I know they got a lot to do, but I've had the same conversation. It's a bad look when you come across the bridge, even though they got a beautiful building they're building, but it's a bad luck, you know. And so he is working on that as a priority. In terms of the signs, I agree with you. Our budget is so tight this year, just to get by, that the things that you say we need. We need a new van, we need a new sign, we need a digital sign, street sweeper, which we've tried to get with the 4 towns together, and hopefully we still were. I'm waiting right now for the state to tell us if they're going to give us a circuit rider. And if we get that circuit rider, we can focus on getting some grants in order to get those things done. And I just really want to say that the cost of this building is in fact why our taxes are higher. And I just want to say to you and all the residents in town, there is so much benefit you can get out of using this building. We've got exercise equipment downstairs, we've got weightlifting equipment, we have an indoor track, we have the basketball court, and I can tell you, I can almost count on just 2 hands how many of my residents come and use this facility as they should. And there are so many other opportunities with the conference room availability and the outreach room. I just want to say, you're paying for the building, come and use it. But you always have great comments. I'm always listening, and it may take time to make things happen, but we work on it. Thank you. All right, thanks so much. All right, come on up. More comment. Your name and the 100 block of your street.
I'll try to say this fast. I know you all been here a while. I'm Doug Bowles. I live on the 3600 block of 41st Avenue. Good evening, Mayor, Council, Mr. Baden. Thank you for all your hard work. We're going to miss you, Vivian. I know you're ready to be gone, but
I'll still be around helping out.
All right. I just wanted to make I had heard that the town newsletter may be restarted and might be coming out on a quarterly basis. I hope that's true.
Yes.
I just wanted to make a suggestion. I think this is true of our general public as well. Sometimes we forget what the rules of the road are. We forget what our town code says, and sometimes we do things just because we don't know what the rules are. I would just suggest that perhaps there's a column in that newsletter that's called, I don't know, do you remember or did you know, or just to remind you, and then mention something about grass height, you know, taking care of your property. I looked at the town code and I believe it says that you can let your grass grow up to 1 foot.
Is it 9 inches? I thought it was 9 inches.
The thing I saw said 1 foot, but 9 is, whatever it is, it's awfully generous. So I would suggest that we cut that to 6 inches and then empower the code inspector to give warnings and citations, because one of the things that we can do to raise the reputation of this town is to make sure that it's looking tight. And most of us take a lot of time to make sure that our properties look good. When you walk around the town, there are a lot of very beautiful properties, and we may not be the richest town in the world, but you don't have to be rich to look good. That's what I'm saying. And I'm also seeing that there are people that take a lot of time and care with their yards, but they don't seem to understand or care that the easement is theirs to care for as well. So you'll walk by a property and the grass in the yard is low, but along the road the grass is 6 or 8 inches high. There's a property I won't name that's near where Miss Blue lives, and there are old brake and tire parts, and the grass is so high that you can't see them there. That's a walking hazard. That's a potential danger. So I just think that that's something that we can review. If everybody's yard looks nice, it just sends a message about the town to anybody who comes in. You know, I live there's a piece of city property that's between 40th and 41st on Newark, One of our citizens, I think, thought that he was contributing to the beautification of that property, but he installed 5 trees. They died months ago. So now when you come into town, you're greeted by 5 dead shrubs, and then there's a tree that belongs to the city that's completely dead. And then one of the most beautiful trees in town, it's some kind of a cedar, is on the corner of 40th and Newark. It has for years had this rather tenacious vine growing up in it that will eventually kill that tree if it's not removed. And so that's one of our entryway, that's one of the first things you see when you come into Colmar Manor and you're greeted by 6 dead trees and a tree under attack. And that's city property.
Okay.
So I'm just asking if you guys could take a look at that, because it really does send a message about what people see when they come into town. Anywho, I think that's it. I would say I understand what you're saying about the speeding, and I understand what you're saying about wanting to protect cars, but I personally witnessed a car going over 60 miles an hour that ran into another car in Colmar Manor and became a part of that car. The man was inebriated. He couldn't get the car away, so he spent 20 minutes pulling and pulling and pulling until he finally extricated his car and then continued on down the road. This was down Newton, going at least 50 or 60 again. He had to be as drunk as a skunk, right? I stand on my porch and I watch people go down 41st Avenue, and 1 out of 10 will stop at the stop sign.
That's the biggest problem.
And I understand that we don't want to slow down our emergency response, but if you kill a child or any soul, that is something that can never be paid for and can never be paid back. So if the answer isn't speed bumps, which I do see in most of the developing neighborhoods around here, if that is not the answer, then maybe to help with town revenue, it's some kind of a stop sign camera. Charge these people and make some money for the town and get them to slow down, because there are adults, children, and animals here, and we care for each other, and I would hate to see anybody hurt, but if it keeps up like this, stop signs are an option. People see it as an option, and most often they option not to stop. And that 41st Avenue is a speedway, and I'm telling you, I live there, I watch it every day. So I'm just asking you to please address it and consider some way to moderate the traffic there.
Yeah, it's amazing to me, and because at the end of the day, the stop sign is the problem. Because we have enough stop signs around here, people have to stop, they didn't have space to speed, right? And so the Delegate Talo, a couple years, well, I think it was a couple years ago, was talking about the state has to enact legislation for us to do the stop sign cameras, but I'm feeling encouraged to encourage them to say, let's do this, because I've been hit too many, almost hit too many times because somebody just didn't stop at the stop sign. Yeah. I mean, if you stop at the stop sign, then we won't have this problem.
Well, I know on the way Eastern Avenue up to the Fort Lincoln development, they have a stop sign camera and a speeding camera.
Yes.
And I know
DC,
because
right?
I let my wheels roll onto the white stop line before I braked. I did brake, but I got a $75 ticket. Well, guess who never speeds there again, and guess who always stops? Sometimes, I'm sorry, but if people are going to act irresponsibly, they have to have some kind of a consequence for their actions. So, we don't want to be oppressive on our citizens, but if our citizens are not going to be responsible or respectful of each other, then we got to do something about it. Because one day we're going to we don't want to do what most humanity does and wait for a catastrophe to act. We want to be proactive. Right, so anyway, thank you for letting me talk. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Thank you so much for that. All right. Anybody else have any comments? Any good for the order?
Just one thing, 2020 censors is coming out. Please, it's very important that you fill out the censors. They're also hiring for part-time work. I know we'll touch base again at the next meeting about it. Just wanted that, but please. That's how we get money for our schools and everything that's in our town.
Yes.
That's it.
All right. Thank you so much. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make it motion as stated.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Meeting is now adjourned.
Thank you.
All right. Thank